What's up, you guys? Today's TV show review is on a warrior searching for inner balance between his fears and purpose for living while seeking a group of fighters to help defend Earth from an invasion, and I'm talking about Mortal Kombat Conquest. Mortal Kombat Conquest aired in 1998, consisting of one season with a total of 22 episodes. Our story begins with a Shaolin warrior named the Great Kung Lao who's participating in a tournament called Mortal Kombat as he defends himself in order to protect his home within Earthrealm, as it hangs in the balance from being overtaken by a powerful emperor named SHAO KAHN. With the narration explaining the rules, Kung Lao is aided by his mentor RAIDEN, the God of Thunder, when he doubts his abilities of winning because his final opponent is none other than a ruthless sorcerer named SHANG TSUNG, a fighter competing on the emperor's behalf. When Kung Lao is basically defeated, SHANG TSUNG, who has the power to steal souls, tries to do so, but with a quick turn of events, Kung Lao emerges in victory and is crowned the new champion of Mortal Kombat, thus gaining immortality, until that is, if he ever loses. Although it is obligated to finish off your opponent, Kung Lao spares Shang Tsung's life and heads into town for a celebration. Although Kung Lao sees visions of his dead ancestors as he's clouded with negativity when meditating, Raiden suggests he finds a group of allies to train for the next tournament, which takes place every generation. So when heading to meet the love of his life, Jen, and wanting to ask permission for her hand, the Baron, aka her father, denies his request. This eventually creates tension as Kung Lao tries to sneak in to take her away and elope, but thanks to her bodyguard SIRO and his friend TAJA, Kung Lao is summoned to be executed. In the meantime, SHAO KAHN is disappointed in Shang Tsung's failures and sends him to the cobalt mines, which is the lowest depth within the realm called Outworld, as only those who are deemed to be outcasts are sent there for punishment. Eventually, Shang Tsung befriends a girl named Vorpax, who joins his side and introduces him to a secret cave where hidden warriors are stoned by the Emperor, as well as a deadly scorpion. Shang Tsung then frees its deadly soul and transfers it to Takeda, who plans a trap against his friend SIRO, causing him to get exiled, as well as killing the Baron for allowing his daughter to get kidnapped. Seeing how there's no way out, Raiden provides assistance to one of the Baron's slaves named TAJA, someone Kung Lao encountered earlier, to help rescue him, free SIRO, and find Jen. When arriving at the temple, we get a fight scene between Kung Lao and Takeda, who now dons the name of Scorpion. Unfortunately, Jen gets in the way, leading her to get hurt, which causes her to die. Before her final moments, she hands Kung Lao a key to the trading post in a town called Zuzin, where it is there where Kung Lao will find his new group of warriors. With TAJA having nowhere to go and SIRO owing a debt for failing to protect Jen, they both accompany Kung Lao in his conquest to avenge Jen's death, despite not really believing in the concept of elder gods, monks, or even the Mortal Kombat tournament. But knowing what lays ahead is full of danger and immense combat made them take their chances. So within the Earthrealm warrior/fighters, we have Kung Lao, aka the Great Kung Lao, a Shaolin who's the champion of Mortal Kombat, SIRO, an ex-bodyguard, TAJA, a once-known thief, and Raiden, the God of Thunder. As for other allies, we have Kitana, the Princess of Edenia, Tomas, a mysterious warrior, Hannah, SIRO's once love interest, and Lori, a childhood friend of Kung Lao. As for the villains, you have SHAO KAHN, the Emperor of Outworld, Shang Tsung, a sorcerer, Quan Chi, another sorcerer, Scorpion, once known as Takeda and a bodyguard for the Baron, SUBZERO, a warrior from the ninja clan called the Lin Kuei, REPTILE, a ninja from a lizard race from the city of Zathura, Rain, a loyal officer for SHAO KAHN, Reiko, the general for SHAO KAHN's army, Melina, a hideous clone of Kitana, NOOB SAIBOT, a warrior from Netherrealm who's made up of oil, and Smoke, who only appears for a few seconds at the end of one episode. As for some other human villains who were newly created, you had Vorpax, Cabral, Kali, Kriya, Omegis, Kiri, Jola, Dion, and Mika. Throughout the show, Kung Lao searches for new combatants to aid him in the fight for Earthrealm whenever the next Mortal Kombat tournament is held, and dwells on the loss of Jen on multiple occasions and dreads on the concept of immortality. Upon entering the trading post at Zuzin, they immediately waste no time and already get attacked by Lin Kuei warriors. But those aren't the only time, as upon SHAO KAHN's request, oftentimes each character faces a familiar name of the Mortal Kombat franchise, giving us some pretty surprisingly good choreography and action. Aside from this, as time progresses, all three characters wind up getting to know each other and eventually become friends, regardless of all their arguments, and end up looking out for each other, wanting to find purpose within this new life they live and wanting to let go of their past. For example, TAJA eventually realizes that being a thief isn't the solution to become successful or a way of means for survival, as she eventually finds odd jobs, and with the support of her friends, opens up a shop to make some money the honest way. We also learn about her past involving her father and how she was abandoned at a young age. As for SIRO, he often has trouble taming his ego and usually resides to violence for vengeance. We also slowly learn about his past involving his addiction to alcohol, as it's a way to bury his pain. His fallout between his brother Kesar and his former love interest Hannah, who actually left him for his brother. Now that's what I call family problems. And in regards to Raiden, well, he basically doesn't do anything but give useless advice, harass the three main characters, makes fun of them, and doesn't get taken seriously. As for the villains, Shang Tsung spends most of his time in the cobalt mines stealing souls from other workers to stay alive and casts spells on warriors to attack our three main heroes. Other than trying to stay out of Shao Kahn's way, his main goal is to basically have Kung Lao dead with really no other motives, but despite being the sneaky sorcerer that he is, in one episode we get to learn the origins of how he received this immense power. As a surprise, Shang Tsung was actually once an Earthrealm fighter who had a relationship with a girl named Omijis under the training of Master Cho, but thanks to evil being corrupted throughout his mind, he ends up using his powers for personal gain and immortality, which also makes Omijis' fate change as well. Because of this, if he doesn't continue to steal souls, he ends up losing his youth and turns into an old man, which is realistically his truest form. When reaching near the middle of the series, it unnecessarily introduces us to a female named Kriya who has an army of women whose goal is to use strong men to have intercourse with, but kills them later on as only the women are stated to be reliable. Eventually, Kriya manipulates whomever she can in order to find seeds, even if that means someone like Kung Lao, Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, or even Reptile. As disturbing as that sounds, everyone gets to learn her motives. The character Vorpak starts off as a humble servant to Shang Tsung when he finds her in the cobalt mines, but shockingly enough, we soon discover that she actually works for Shao Kahn, whom she also betrays to work for Kriya, whom she once again betrays for her own personal gain and power. And speaking of betrayal, that's a common theme in Mortal Kombat, so always expect the unexpected. As episodes continue, we do get some filler storylines involving the essence of Edenia involving a character named Duran and the Red Crystals, the Black Dragons Cabral, not Cabal, and his sister Jola as they fight to take ownership of the clan after their father Benak dies. And then you have the Festival of Death where a girl named Kali, who technically is supposed to be Jade, does illegal underground fighting. However, where the story lacks, it does however have some pretty good episodes. For example, one of my favorite ones has to be the episode where a mysterious man named Tomas, who's like another Johnny Cage, comes to town wanting to join the Earthrealm warriors. However, when strange deaths start to happen, everyone except TAJA points fingers at Tomas, assuming he's the culprit to only find out he was set in a trap. This unfortunately leads to his character to get killed off in a brutal way, which I won't spoil, leaving TAJA, who fell in love with him, to be alone once again. And then you have my other favorite episode where you get to see the origins of SUBZERO and the start of his rivalry with Scorpion as they kick each other's asses because Scorpion killed SUBZERO's sister. Although none of these storylines are what happens in the games, it's still awesome to see these two fight on screen. As Shao Kahn gets made a fool of in every episode, he basically loses his shit when someone steals his sword, thus making him want revenge by finally taking action against all the bad luck since the first episode. So with that said, he summons his Shadow Priest warriors who are strong as F and basically has them murder Reptile, Kitana, Quan Chi, Vorpax, and Shang Tsung. So when Raiden, who finally has a fight with Shao Kahn in a place called Shaken City, seeing how Outworld is slowly invading Earthrealm, Raiden basically kicks Shao Kahn's ass and awaits for Kung Lao, SIRO, and TAJA to put an end to this invasion. But when the three heroes get cornered by the Shadow Priest unaware to Raiden's knowledge, even all three of them get killed, with Raiden being the final warrior to save them unbeknownst to Shao Kahn's plan. He stalled enough time to have Raiden be standing in the realm of Outworld as it is here where he can't use his powers, thus making Shao Kahn kick his ass into victory. As Raiden is caught seeing all beat up and destroyed, he denies to bow to Shao Kahn assuming the three Earthrealm warriors will save him, but when seeing how they, among all the others mentioned earlier, are dead, by having Shao Kahn represent each character's specific attire, Raiden realizes that Shao Kahn had won and that Earthrealm is forever doomed, thus concluding the series on a very devastating cliffhanger. The reason I say cliffhanger is because the show was planned for a second season, resulting in somehow having the Earthrealm heroes return in an interesting plot twist. However, the show was cancelled to everyone's surprise, leaving to the bad guys to actually emerge in victory, so we never know if TAJA and SIRO are the chosen ones to aid Kung Lao, or if we would get new characters in another season. I guess we'll never know. As underrated I think this show is, it does contain a good amount of flaws. Aside from storylines of certain characters which are nowhere at all canon to the original games, one of my complaints is the overall sexual tension between characters. I understand that Mortal Kombat tends to have skimpy outfits for the women, but in this show there's a lot of ass, cleavage, legs, and all-around sexual desires that often has characters bang each other. For example, Kung Lao bangs Melina, SIRO bangs TAJA, SHANG TSUNG bangs Vorpax, REPTILE bangs Kriya, and even RAIDEN has some action with girls sitting on his lap or even making out with him. I guess even gods need love. Even though RAIDEN has a lot of jokes, Quan Chi joins the party with the silly acting and voice tones that it doesn't even compare to the terrible voice of Scorpion. And while on the subject of terrible interpretations, SHAO KAHN looks like a villain from Power Rangers with his cheesy helmet or mask, or even a member of Slipknot, possibly Corey Taylor, and Kung Lao looks like Peter Pan with his stupid orange tights and sweater. He only wore his traditional outfit and hat once in the beginning and was never seen again. When it comes to graphics, it does have its fair share of goodness, but right off the bat fails when they reuse clips from the first Mortal Kombat movie, or even Annihilation, as well as using music from the animated series. Sometimes the town of Zuzin is in 3D graphics, other times it's a real location, and most of the time it's a 2x4 set from Universal Studios. But I give credit when mentioning characters like Motaro, showing cameos of Shokin warriors for a few seconds, or even the Raptors and Zathura, because that was kind of cool. And speaking of Reptile, the fact that he even has a reptilian council is just hilarious. And to complete off the cheesiness, because the show aired right after wrestling's WCW's Mayhem show, we do get a few cameos of some wrestlers as random goons the Warriors fight, and as soon as you see a character getting sidewalk slammed, powerbombed, or even suplexed, it's all game over from there. This show is just what you can expect in Mortal Kombat. Lots of fighting, techno music, strobe light effects, or even harakiris performed by the Lin Kuei. The show does tend to pick up in language, becoming more aggressive in tone, but does a good job keeping with the mysterious element of Mortal Kombat alive, and that's what I love the most about it. It may be cheesy, people may say it's really bad as it received negative reviews, or considered the worst thing to come out of Mortal Kombat, but I personally enjoyed it as it reminded me of what Mortal Kombat was really all about. Therefore, Mortal Kombat Conquest gets a B. Thanks for watching, give a like and subscribe for more TV show reviews, and stay tuned for the next episode.